Hello everyone, it's Waning Moonlight, and today we're going to be beating Armor Core 6 as the companies. Now, I'm not going to be doing it like mission by mission like that. I'm actually going to be doing the replay missions, just because that lets me have more variety. And what I mean by playing as the companies, I mean my weapons and armor will all be from the same like brand, like All Mine or whatever. But when it comes to generators and thrusters, not every company had made some, so if they have some, I'll use them. If not, I kind of left it more open-ended. Now here, I decided to start as All Mind, and their stuff is actually pretty bad. Their melee weapon's kind of good because it can like block some attacks if you leave it spinning, and that's of course handy. And you, for the first few levels, it's not bad. I mean, it lets you kind of just mow into people like a chainsaw, so it's fine. But one thing though I didn't actually want to clarify for rules is that I don't need to use every single different company of stuff. Just, you know, if that's, I am going to switch it up. It's not going to be an all mine route, then, you know, like just one or two companies. I'm going to try and change it up, do different stuff, but with every single different company, not all of them are that good. So, you know, kind of don't want to, if I like just can't beat a level with it, you know, then can't really use it. And this was a good example of can't really use it because this level was super difficult to do. This All Mine stuff, I was struggling because it was just super EN heavy, energy heavy, and with not much also AP, so being hit was pretty easy. And on this level, I died quite a few times. I was quite determined to do the defeat those two. I think it's called like the other route or something. I don't really remember the exact term it gave to it, but I wanted to try and beat these two. Now, this build is not like I mentioned earlier. It's not the best. The weapon on my right shoots a cannon that goes like to the side, doesn't really aim for people. And then I got a cannon on my right hand, so I don't have anything for fast quick damage other than the bird on my left shoulder, because, you know, pirate. And I decided the cannon rocket wasn't really working, so I switched to double birds. And that kind of worked. It did better. Not good, but it did better. And then I finally switched off the melee weapon, realizing it just wasn't the route to go, so I went for the dual wielding cannons, and that was able to bring them down, but it was not a first try switch to victory, I can tell you that much. But the build was definitely a lot better without the, I guess, the flail, and that's what I'm gonna call it, the whip and or flail, depending on how you see it. And this was why I definitely did not want to stick with the All Mine stuff, or like have any like set how long I stay with things, because I won't know how they perform. This right here, these weapons sucked. I didn't want to keep doing it. I mean, literally, dexterity build, dodging around for very little payoff, and dying every 10 minutes, you know, isn't my kind of Armored Core fun run. But that's a problem I'm gonna have to deal with later, because they're brought down. But yeah, once they're taken down, you know, I decided to switch it up and go with I don't know what this company's called. It has the RI, and I think it's called the Howl armor. So basically, I'm going with the coral stuff to keep it simple. which means I get to use the red Moonlight Greatsword, which is personally one of my favorite weapons in this entire game. Well, it is my favorite weapon actually. And the shoulder cannons, once again, kinda suck. They move extraordinarily slow. I've had situations when I was playing where I would shoot them out, jump forward, and still like beat them to the punch. Like I could stand still, fire the shoulder cannons, then start charging up a rifle, and my rifle will be fully charged and hit the enemy before the shoulder rockets do. But anyways, we move on to Operation Wall Climber. I mean, it went as good as you expected when you have some pretty explosive stuff. Honestly, I kind of wish I saved this stuff a little bit for later just because of, you know, it's pretty good. And other than the shoulder cannons, some of my favorite stuff in the game. But either way, we just keep making our way through the wall. And we get to the boss. He's pretty simple. You just gotta hit him from the back and you get massive damage. Our friend Rusty joins us and we take him down in it was like a minute fight at max. You know, there was nothing really to it. And then we keep going. We clear the next few levels. Not really any difficulty other than, you know, the fact that people are invisible and you gotta find the invisible man. Typically I try to run the terminal armor, but I decided to try and switch that up too. I don't think they're really from any specific company, so I thought they were just good to mix around with. I went ahead and I decided to do this level for a triple fight, the all mine level. It's kind of fun. It was kind of funny because I ended up running out of uses of my gun and I didn't realize for a little bit. So I was like, why am I not hitting anything? It's that my character's just punching forward. Which is why I was actually pretty happy I brought the shoulder cannons. But then I decided to switch on later, and instead of having 2 slow missiles, I now have like a body shield. And I went on to the people's favorite first boss. This guy was extraordinarily hard to beat the first time through. And he kind of was now. I couldn't do my original build, but this laser, which I switched my weapons, is super good because it will just hyper beam him down. Which it will not only destroy his armor. I mean, ignore me dying right there, but typically, when I can do it right, it will melt his armor like it's butter. And then all I need is just to hit him a few times for the win. And in general, once I got to this point, I kind of realized why the game doesn't limit you on mix and matching, because nothing is that good on its own. No company really has it all together. And that will also be shown right here. This is I'm not entirely sure what company this was supposed to be. I think it's what you get from Rusty and his ultimate armor set, which is pretty good stuff. Now, it really came down to these weapons, why they kind of suck. The armor itself, I think, is pretty cool. But when it came to fighting, the issue is these cannons do not hit like directly. They don't shoot straight forward. They all arc. And so if the character or enemy moves even slightly, you will miss heavily. And then these shoulder cannons had they did not fire for long. They were just like 5 or 6 shots, or maybe 10. I don't know. I didn't really count. But they made fighting someone even like invincible rummy hard. But then I realized that my issue was I was getting too close. This build works from a distance, or at least the main weapons do. Now, the reason, I don't know why this build works so well at range. I think it's probably just because then they're able to form together, all 3 missiles hitting. But I will say, with its low damage, it actually took me quite a bit to finally take this thing down. And I was pretty thankful for that terminal armor, because that would have one-shot me. Eventually, it's dead, and we move on to the Sea Spider. Now knowing the proper strat for these weapons, it was an absolute cakewalk just to kind of circle around, flinging random shots. It was extraordinarily effective. And honestly, the fighting the spider went 10 times better than the... I don't know what that thing was called, the trash compactor is what I'm going to call it. And it just took a few spins around the block before I kept breaking its poise. And this time it could attack even when poise broken, it looked like, which was kind of annoying. But obviously didn't affect the run too much. All in all, honestly, at this point, I was kind of regretting this entire run because it was just such a drag. But that was until I got to this build. This build was using, because I knew I had to fight the ice worm for the final boss, so I went with that company's stuff. It looked like an eagle symbol, I don't know. This stuff rocked. Every single weapon was basically a one-shot. I just had to pull the trigger once, and everything was dead in front of me. It was absolutely amazing. Beautiful, even. This one got me like 4 S-rank missions done because of how good it was. I want that to be kept in mind for those people who are going for it. This is the build. It has a melee option to help conserve bullets. You get a lot of HP. And like I said, it is destructive. This is more of the build that I like. I'm more of a giant tank face on anything in my way. Because it's just, I don't know what, to me, it's much more fun. And I also liked having this specific melee weapon because it would help give me some more range. Like if I ran out of boosts, I could charge it up and like propel myself more forward, which would help cover some distance. And even when it came to fighting 2 mechs at once, 2 ACs, like legitimately, they stood no chance. Like, look at how fast they melt. That's like a hot knife through water. Does that make sense? No. But that's because there's nothing easier than destroying those things. That was like a one shot with my combo. This man had a shield, which is why he took a little extra hits. But even then, it was easy. And they had the audacity to bring a third, thinking that'll make a difference. It really didn't. There's nothing to even say about this build. Just pick it up and annihilate your enemies. It's easy. Then, had to go defend the spaceport. This was the longest level with it, just because there's no way to really speed it up. But even then, I got some good range. The cannon on my right is like a rifle of sorts, so I wouldn't have to get up too close, and I really just kind of stood around for the majority of this level. Eventually, it's on to this one, where me and Rusty again have to do a duo battle. And it took me a little bit to actually find the people because they were just flying around, which, I mean, it's kind of what they're supposed to do. But either way, we just annihilate one, and the other one stands as good of a chance as the previous. And in just like 5 hits, blown to bits. Then there's this whole thing with the ice worm showing up, but that doesn't really matter. We can't fight it there. And we fight this guy called Honest Brute. I quickly scanned the area to find him, and I wanted to be able to get the jump on him, and kind of did. Kind of traded a little bit. Now, he was kind of hard to follow because he moves around so much in the air that the auto tracker kind of can't really auto track him too well. So kind of gotta rely on the camera a little bit. But when I can find him, it just takes a few shots. Then we fight this guy who was saying we stole his name. I don't know. When you can't even put up a fight, I think he kind of lost the right to it. And we just kind of... It takes... You know, he tries to run around a little bit. But he is not safe from this build. The 2 cannons on the back is an instant poise break. And even if it just barely misses, the rifle helps keep up pressure for me to get in range for the punch. That's like I said, that's a couple S ranks, and then we make our way to the ice worm. You really just gotta break it, shoot it 3 times. And honestly, I was kind of disappointed because this was the last level with this build. And I was enjoying it so much I didn't want to see it go. But there goes the ice worm. And I went for a punch. It didn't kill it, so then I had to go for a shot, which kind of ruined the epicness of it, but whatever. Thing's done. And we move on to our next build. This one was kind of a mistake. I don't know if you've ever tried to float down towards the thing shooting missiles at you, but being a giant target is not the play. I got annihilated on my way down. And I'm just happy that I put on the terminal armor. And that there was nothing that fought me once I get down here. Because, oh my gosh, I would have lost. But that's still technically a first try. And we go into the next level. Fight Iguazu, the iguana. And, I mean, it was kind of difficult because we had to go through like the majority of this level before he shows up, and so our HP was already kind of low, and I kind of forgot he was here, so I wasn't very good on not getting hit early on, but we still got him. We keep moving, and you know, this entire level is kind of difficult for its final boss. But I learned the shoulder cannons are an instant poise break. And I decided to switch off from the tank feet just because they were actually holding me back a good bit. And I decided to go with this build right here because, the shoulder cannons were the most important part. I needed the shoulder cannons. But with the feet and the heavy armor, I couldn't have a weapon in my left hand. So that may seem like a disadvantage. And at first it was, because I mean, I'm basically just giving up a damage source. And it seemed like barely worth it. But eventually I learned that once he is poise broken, if I run up and punch him, it staggers him and keeps the poise breaking going for longer. And if it goes on for longer, my shoulder cannons recharge, so I can hit him harder. And that became my strat. Run up and punch him. Then punch him. Then punch him. Cannon's back. Hit him with the cannon. And obviously, that worked. But after that, I was kind of done with that build. So I completely switched companies again. And it's worth stating that I have about like 90% of the items in this game. I have like all the armor, all the hand weapons, but I was missing some shoulder weapons. And that kind of did impact a few runs, like this guy. I had 0 shoulder weapons, so I just had switch-outable hand weapons for some grenade launchers. And it wasn't too big of an issue. And in fact, it helped us, really, for when we got to our good old friend Rusty. Now, they were kind of handy because you can reload your weapons on your shoulder when you have different weapons out. So it kind of was like, oh, these are out. Let me just throw them in back, grab new weapons. And when I fired those, then the weapons on my shoulders reloaded. And so with that strat, it was not long till we beat Rusty. Sorry to do that to you, but you know, we got a mission. And we keep going down here. And I mean, there's not really too much to this one. We didn't stay with this company. This was like the only 2 levels we did with it because it was just not too good of a build. But we look out through where we're going and decided to make the best build I used the entire run. At first, I almost went with giant cannons before I realized I can have 4 machine guns on me at all times. It was beautiful. Everything just became Swiss cheese in front of me. And I even went with what I find to be the harder route battle. Needing to fight Iguazu, the iguana, and snail. There's no name joke for snail. That's just a sad name. It took actually quite a few tries. I tried different builds before I made this machine gun destroyer. And I absolutely annihilated everything. I'm not gonna say how many tries that took me, but it was several minutes. But then we make our way to here. This one is another, again, it's a 5-minute battle, no matter what you do. I completely forgot you could activate these things to help you, which definitely did not make my life easier. But having 4 machine guns did, actually. But eventually, we made it to the end here. Now, originally, I was going to use, I think called the rad stuff. I don't fully remember what it's called. I wanted to give it a chance. But the more I kept fighting Walter, it didn't feel right. I mean, it didn't even look right. It was a whole mess of stuff. And plus, the shoulder weapons were pretty good, but the hand weapons kind of sucked. I mean, I still tried the attempt to see if I could do it. But eventually, I switched my build to actually be Ares' build for the final battle, which was all HAL weapons. But thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed.
My friend's wishes. Look at you, 621. You found a friend.